All right, so training camp just a few days away, and the LA Rams got some position battles to keep an eye on. So let's talk about them. All right, we'll go ahead and start with the running back position. It's just a conversation we just had, but let's go ahead and take a look at them. The guys that we have on the roster right now: Darrell Henderson, Xavier Jones, Raymond Calais, Jake Funk, and Otis Anderson Jr. Hendo will probably get the bulk of the carries, but unless a veteran free agent is signed, I expect a pretty solid rotation here. Preseason is going to be a very interesting one to watch now to see who stands out in this group. Is Henderson going to play? I think he will. Of course, the Rams don't like to play starters in preseason. They like to save their guys that we're the team that hits the least in practice and all that stuff. But it has worked out. Historically, in the last couple of years, it has worked out. I know we just dealt with a big injury. We're dealing with a big injury this year. But the Rams have been a pretty healthy team for the last couple of years. So is that something that they're going to want to explore? That actually could be very telling. If Henderson is not playing in the first preseason game at SoFi Stadium against the Chargers, if he doesn't come out I would say if he doesn't come suited up in that game, he's going to be the starter week 1 against the Bears. Sunday Night Football, SoFi. That's going to be, I feel pretty good about that one. By the way, SoFi decided to name their board. I thought it was the Oculus. They said no. They said it's the Infinity Board or whatever. So there you go. It just keeps going forever. The Infinity Board. All right, and let's take a look here. Next position grouping is actually going to be just interior offensive line. This is a good problem to have. A bunch of very good players. The problem is that none of them are really superstars. None of them are like rising so far. Of course, we got preseason and training camp to watch. But none of them so far is like, oh, yeah, that guy's awesome. Like, he's doing it. He's doing the dang thing. He's going to be a starter. So it'll be a journey to see who does do that in this preseason training camp time period that we're got coming up here soon, very soon. I'm so pumped, guys. This is like this time right here where everybody's 0-0. We're just about to hit training camp. This is like prime awesome stuff right here. This is my favorite. I love it. Even though there's not like games, it's still one of my favorite times. Either way, I feel good that that the 2 guard slots will be filled with 2 guys from the following list, and their exact position I would say is yet to be determined. But I would say the 2 guards are going to be one of these guys or 2 of these guys: David Edwards, Joseph Noteboom, Bobby Evans, Jameel Demby, and Tremaine Ankrum. I feel like Tremaine Ankrum is a guy that's possibly in that conversation. Demby may not be, but I wanted to include him because he has been around a little bit. Edwards, Noteboom, and Evans, those are really the 3 that I'm looking at to be battling out for this. And the more time that passes, I know I've been super high on Bobby Evans, and I still am. That's not going away. But as far as prediction-wise, like if I had the choice, I think I would start Bobby Evans. But from what I'm seeing, from what I hear, from things I know, I kind of feel like it's going to be Noteboom and Edwards. But that's fine because I like Edwards. You know what I mean? But Evans would be my personal selection. I think that he just keeps getting better, and I like to see him out there. But I feel pretty good saying that Austin Corbett is going to be at center. At the 2 guard spots, though, I think it'll be 2 of those names that I listed. And side, I think, would be kind of a toss-up right now because I think that any of those guys that I named could play left or right. So not super concerned there. At nickel cornerback, obviously we're going to see Jalen Ramsey, Darius Williams. They're going to be on the outside. That's pretty locked in. The nickel spot is a battle. And Stu Jackson, the Rams staff writer, he did an awesome piece on this where he kind of broke down everybody who's like available to be in that slot and just gave some good information on them. So I liked that a lot. But although the position does look to be wide open, especially as Stu suggests that it is, I would like to say that it's probably between David Long Jr. and Robert Rochelle. That just feels more realistic. David Long Jr. absolutely could get this spot. Robert Rochelle's getting hyped like crazy from guys like myself, honestly, but it still counts. But keep an eye on the number of snaps at this spot in preseason. So, like, who's playing how many times at nickel and who's playing in those slots, of course. But a lot of evaluating will be done in the preseason, and we'll probably see guys the coaching staff likes just a little bit more, especially in the first 2 preseason games. That third preseason game, the one in Denver, if you guys are going to be there, definitely hit me up. I'll be there. It's going to be awesome times. I'll welcome you guys to Colorado. It's where I spent my whole life. Lived here forever and 30 years now. Oof. But that game is not necessarily going to be very telling for us. Those first 2 at SoFi, which will be televised both on NFL Network, those games will be a little bit more telling as far as where guys are playing, and then that also helps us, as like I say us, is like me and I'm sure most of you guys as well, to kind of evaluate who's doing well, and that's a big part of it, is game situations. Who's playing well there? And who's playing there? You know what I mean? That it is telling. We'll look at the safety spot. Jordan Fuller, he's a starter for sure. But on the other side, it looks like it's going to be between Burgess and Rapp. Burgess early on last season overtook Rapp on the depth chart. While Rapp was healthy, Burgess started getting more playing time over Rapp. And that's actually why I'm picking Burgess over Rapp, and actually why I'm also selecting Rapp as a cut, because he technically lost his job last year. And then Burgess got hurt, and then Rapp started coming back in. Of course, Rapp is not necessarily a bad player. I see a lot of you guys defending him, and that's totally fine. The reason that I think that Taylor Rapp will be cut is the blown coverages. It's not just that one that everybody seems to reference is like the single blown coverage, and that I've been bashing him for 2 years on it. Not necessarily the case, all right? He's out of position a lot in coverage, especially in zone coverage, and you're a safety. You're the last line of defense. You cannot be out of place there. And if somebody's deep, you're deep, man. All right. Don't cut that underneath, man. That's going to be somebody else. So I don't want to see that anymore. And if we can get rid of that, I like Taylor Rapp. He is a very strong tackler. Most of you guys comment that. That is real. That's a real thing. He's very good at tackling. That coverage though bothers me, man. It's a problem. He lets his guy open too often. And honestly, like when it becomes once every 2 games or whatever, that I think is too much. You're an NFL player, and if it's just a blatant blown coverage, bad plays happen, somebody gets you on a move or something like that. But when a guy's running past you and you on purpose just take the short guy and go up and then leave that guy wide open, that's a problem. All right. So that's what I'm seeing out here. And I asked for examples. I think, was that? Nah, that probably wasn't Taylor Rapp, actually. But I truly think that based on the coverage issues that we've seen, on top of the lack of progression that we've seen, he has not gotten better. He still has been. We'll see in preseason, of course, this year. But he has been the same exact player since he entered the NFL. That's also not a good thing. And then also the fact that Terrell Burgess, a rookie last year, was taking snaps away from Taylor Rapp in the secondary. I think that is critical. So that is a battle, though, because who knows? Maybe Rapp was straight up like, he's just on the bench press, and he's like, that Sheriff Joe Bags, man, I'm going to prove him wrong. First of all, I doubt that that's what happened, all right? No one needs to prove anything to me. I'm just a guy that talks about the Rams in my apartment, all right? But Taylor Rapp, though, I would like to see more out of him. I have no issues with who's out on the field, all right? I just want him to play well while they're there. I don't think that's too much to ask. Let's take a look at the long snapper spot. This is a toss-up at the moment. We're hearing no reports. We have no real information on who's like doing well here. But I would like to think that we can take our context clues here and pay attention to the sideline a little bit. This is what I'm looking for here. And maybe you guys think I'm crazy, maybe not, but this is the kind of thing that my Sheriff Joe Bags brain does while watching Rams preseason games. I'm going to be keeping an eye on Johnny Hekker, all right? Who's he friends with? Who is he sitting with? Is it going to be both of them? Is it going to be both Wordle and Orzek? Or is he chilling with Wordle? Is he over here chilling with Orzek? I think that's important because he's the guy taking all of the snaps. He's the holder and the punter. Anytime that long snapper shoots that thing through his legs, it's going to Hekker, all right? So I think that Hekker does have a say here, and I think that who he's kind of gravitating towards, I think will get the spot. I've selected Matthew Orzek as my personal selection based on experience alone, but let's see what Hekker has to say, man, because he's the one getting the ball from him. At linebacker, the Rams run nickel pretty much most of the time, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change this year. Last season, the progression of Kenny Young was very real, And he just kept on improving as the season went on. He's probably, I'll be honest, guys, I know that there's other Rams publications out there saying that like I do writing, but there's Rams publications out there saying that like Kenny Young's a potential cut. I don't see it. I think he might be our best inside linebacker right now. Like today, heading into the season, we're July 21st, I really think that he might be technically our best inside linebacker. So I don't think that he's going to get cut. I know that he carries a little bit higher of a cap number than some of the other guys, but I don't see why he would get cut. But also Micah Kaiser, I like a lot. And Troy Reeder, Traven Howard, they're also not bad players. So all of these guys could stick around, honestly. But as far as like who's going to be out there the most, really who's going to get the green dot is very important. And then, of course, we got Ernest Jones, too, the rookie coming in, who people feel good about. So that's a possibility as well. So something to keep an eye on is that inside linebacker spot for sure to see, because that's a difficult one right now because normally, like I said, Rams rest starters in preseason, but can they do that at this spot? We got to kind of figure out who's our guy there a little bit. It seems like, Kaiser, he's kind of penciled in right now, but I think that Kenny Young, I think he's really vying for that. And then that outside linebacker spot opposite of Leonard Floyd, and the depth will be something to watch as well at the linebacker position. The top two guys opposite of Floyd is what it appears now would be Ogbonnaya Okoronkwo and Terrell Lewis. Both have a bit of an injury history, so it's difficult to evaluate like how much progress they have made and are making. But if they can stay healthy, if they can, the real trick here is turning potential into production. Something that guys like Tavon Austin weren't able to do. They had potential out the wazoo, but were not able to transfer that into production. So that's what I'm looking for in the preseason from the outside linebackers. Anybody but Floyd. We know Flo is going to make the team here, but that's what I'm looking for. These guys have potential. There's some very good players at that spot. Who's going to turn that potential into production? And then we got the bottom part of the wide receiver group. The Rams know that they have 5 really good wide receivers. That's Woods, Kupp, Jackson, Jefferson, and Atwell. After that, the Rams have some pretty good wide receivers. After that, it's Ben Skoranek, J.J. Koski, Tristan Jackson, Jeremiah Hadel, and Landon Akers. No longer Simba Webster, as he is a 49er. The question is, how many more than 5 wide receivers do the Rams keep? I think we went into the season last year, if I'm not mistaken, with 7 in 2020. But that also had a bit to do with the COVID rules. There was a lot of weird COVID things that we did, keeping a punter on the practice squad, stuff like that. So, but 7 or 8 is not necessarily out of the question, but with the Cam Akers injury, could more attention go to the running back group instead of wide receiver? That's, of course, a possibility. So if it's 6, who from that bottom list stays? Who would you pick? Tell me who you would pick in this spot. And don't confuse this part with the other, the entry to the giveaway stuff early on. All right, because we got Skoranek, Koski, Jackson, that's Tristan Jackson, Landon Akers, and Jeremiah Hadel. If you had to get just one of those guys, who would you go with? I think I would go with Tristan Jackson myself if I was the selector. After that, might be Ben Skoranek. See, I don't hate him completely, guys. Come on now. It's Skoranek and Taylor Rapp. Everybody's like, why do you hate these guys? It's because Sean Mannion ruined my life, okay? And now I'm allowed, ever since Sean Mannion, I feel like I'm allowed to actually, be a little bit critical of Rams players because I was not a Sean Mannion fan. But either way, that's your bottom wide receivers. If you guys want to let me know who you would select out of those ones, if the Rams do go with 6, or how many of you guys think the Rams will be taken, feel free to drop it. So you've made it to the end of the video, and you're wondering, what do I do now, Sheriff Joe Bags? We'll tell you what you do now. You hit this subscribe button over here, and then you watch the whole podcast. If you like this clip, I'm sure you're going to like the entire thing. I can almost guarantee it. Almost guarantee it. But I need you to subscribe. It means so much to me. Appreciate the heck out of it. It's what puts food in Carl's bowl, guys. Puts food in Carl's bowl. Carl's my cat. Peace. Go Rams.